The air in the luxury boutique was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the soft hum of classical music playing in the background. Rows of pristine designer gowns and handbags lined the walls, each piece more exquisite than the last. It was the kind of place where only the elite dared to shop, where every customer was treated like royalty, until that afternoon. The door chimed softly as Melania Trump stepped inside, her presence immediately commanding attention. Dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, she exuded the quiet confidence she was known for. She had come to find something special for an upcoming charity event, a cause close to her heart. The staff recognized her instantly, and whispers rippled through the store. But one person, the boutique manager, seemed unimpressed. The manager, a tall woman with sharp features and an even sharper tongue, approached Melania with a cold smile. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone dripping with faux politeness. Melania nodded politely and explained what she was looking for. Instead of assisting her, the manager crossed her arms and tilted her head, her eyes scanning Melania from head to toe. "You know," the manager said loudly, her voice carrying across the store, "we cater to a very specific clientele here. Our pieces are for those who truly understand fashion." The implication was clear, and the other customers froze, their eyes darting between the two women. Melania's expression remained calm, but a flicker of hurt passed through her eyes. The manager continued, her voice growing louder. "I mean, some people come in here thinking they can just buy style, but it's not that simple, is it?" She laughed, a harsh, mocking sound that echoed through the boutique. The other customers shifted uncomfortably, unsure of what to do. Melania, ever the picture of grace, simply nodded and said, "Thank you for your time," before turning to leave. As she walked out, the manager called after her, "Maybe try a different store next time. One more, suited to your taste." The door closed behind Melania, and the boutique fell into an uneasy silence. The other customers exchanged shocked glances, while the manager smirked, seemingly pleased with herself. But what she didn't realize was that this moment would change everything, not just for her, but for everyone who witnessed it. The incident quickly spread, first through whispers, then through social media, and finally to the news. People were outraged. How could someone treat a former first lady with such disrespect? And how would Melania respond? The world waited, holding its breath, as the story unfolded. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a tale that would inspire millions, a story of humility, forgiveness, and the power of rising above. Melania Trump had always been a woman of quiet strength. Born in a small European town, she had worked hard to build a life of her own, far from the comforts of privilege. Her journey to becoming a successful model, and later the First Lady of the United States, was marked by determination and resilience. But life in the public eye had not been easy. Every move she made was scrutinized, every word dissected. And now, as a private citizen, she had hoped for a quieter life, a chance to focus on her family, her passions, and her philanthropic work. Yet, the world never truly let her go. Even after leaving the White House, she remained a figure of fascination, her every appearance sparking headlines. Some admired her elegance and poise, while others criticized her for being too reserved. But those who knew her well understood that her quiet demeanor was not a sign of indifference, it was a shield, a way of protecting herself from the relentless noise of the world. On the day of the incident at the boutique, Melania had been looking forward to a rare moment of normalcy. The charity gala she was preparing for was close to her heart, an event aimed at supporting children's education. She had spent weeks planning her involvement, determined to make a meaningful impact. The boutique visit was supposed to be a simple errand, a chance to find a dress that would reflect the importance of the occasion. But the manager's cruel words had cut deeper than anyone realized. Melania was no stranger to criticism, but the public humiliation in front of strangers had been a stark reminder of the harshness of the world. As she left the store, she held her head high, but inside, she felt the weight of the moment. She knew the incident would not go unnoticed, and she braced herself for the storm that was sure to follow. Meanwhile, the boutique manager's story was one of ambition and insecurity. She had grown up in a modest household, dreaming of a life filled with glamour and success. Through sheer determination, she had climbed the ranks in the competitive world of luxury fashion, eventually landing the coveted position of. The incident at the boutique didn't just stay within the walls of the luxurious store, it exploded into the public eye like a wildfire. By the next morning, the story was everywhere. Social media platforms were flooded with videos and eyewitness accounts of the confrontation. The hashtag boutique backlash began trending, with people from all over the world weighing in on the manager's behavior. News outlets picked up the story, framing it as a clash between arrogance and grace. Headlines screamed, "Boutique manager humiliates former First Lady, what happened next will shock you," and "Melania Trump's silent strength stuns the world." Talk shows and podcasts dissected the incident, with hosts debating whether the manager's actions were a result of jealousy, insecurity, or sheer rudeness. The boutique, once a symbol of exclusivity and prestige, quickly became a target of public outrage. Customers who had once clamored to shop there now boycotted the store, leaving scathing reviews online. "Disgusting behavior," one review read. "I'll never spend another dollar here." Another said, "The manager should be fired. No one deserves to be treated like that, especially someone as classy as Melania Trump." The backlash wasn't just limited to the boutique's reputation, it hit the manager personally. Her name and face were plastered across the internet, and she began receiving angry messages and even threats. Strangers called her out for her cruelty, labeling her as a bully and a symbol of everything wrong with elitism. Her once pristine image was tarnished, and she found herself isolated, both professionally and personally. Meanwhile, Melania remained silent. She didn't issue a statement, didn't give interviews, and didn't post about the incident on social media. Her silence was deafening, and it only added to the mystery surrounding her. People speculated about what she might be thinking or planning. Was she quietly gathering her resources to strike back? Or was she simply rising above the noise, as she had always done? Her supporters, however, were anything but silent. They rallied behind her, praising her for handling the situation with dignity. "This is why we love her," one fan tweeted. "She doesn't stoop to their level. She's the definition of class." Others shared stories of their own encounters with Melania, painting her as a kind and compassionate person who didn't deserve such treatment. The boutique's corporate office was quick to distance itself from the manager. In a carefully worded statement, they expressed their deep regret over the incident and announced that they were conducting an internal investigation. Rumors began to swirl that the manager would be fired, but no official decision had been made yet. As the days passed, the manager found herself increasingly cornered. The once confident woman who had thrived on control now felt like she was losing everything she had worked. 4. Her colleagues avoided her, her friends stopped returning her calls, and even her family seemed distant. She began to question her actions that day, replaying the scene in her mind over and over again. Had she gone too far? Was this the person she had become? But amidst the chaos, one question lingered in everyone's minds: what would Melania do next? Her silence was powerful, but it also left room for speculation. Would she seek justice? Would she forgive? Or would she simply move on, leaving the world to wonder? The fallout from the incident had created a storm, but it was clear that this was only the beginning. The story was far from over, and the next chapter would reveal the true character of everyone involved. The boutique manager sat alone in her apartment, the glow of her laptop screen illuminating her tired face. It had been days since the incident, and the weight of her actions was crushing her. The once bustling boutique was now eerily quiet, with fewer customers daring to step inside. The negative reviews kept pouring in, and the corporate office had placed her on temporary leave, pending the outcome of their investigation. She scrolled through the endless comments and messages, each one a dagger to her pride. "You're a disgrace," one read. "How could you treat someone like that?" another said. The words blurred together, but their meaning was clear: she had crossed a line, and the world wasn't going to let her forget it. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to cry. The tears were a mix of anger, shame, and regret. She had always prided herself on being strong, on never letting anyone see her weaknesses. but now, alone in her apartment, she couldn't hide from the truth. She had hurt someone, not just anyone, but a woman who had done nothing to deserve such treatment. As she sat there, memories of her own struggles began to surface. She thought about her childhood, growing up in a small town where luxury boutiques were nothing but a distant dream. She had worked tirelessly to get where she was, often sacrificing her personal life for her career. The fashion industry was cutthroat, and she had learned early on that kindness was often seen as a weakness. Over time, she had built walls around herself, becoming the sharp-tongued, no-nonsense manager everyone feared. But now, those walls were crumbling. She thought about the look on Melania's face that day, the quiet hurt in her eyes. It was a look that haunted her, a reminder of the pain she had caused. For the first time, she allowed herself to see Melania not as a public figure, but as a human being. A woman who, despite her fame and status, had her own struggles and vulnerabilities. The manager's thoughts turned to her own life. She realized how lonely she had become, how her obsession with success had isolated her from the people who truly mattered. Her friends had drifted away. Her family barely spoke to her, and her colleagues only tolerated her because of her position. She had spent so much time trying to prove herself that she had forgotten what it meant to be kind, to be human. That night, she made a decision. She couldn't undo what she had done, but she could try to make amends. She opened her laptop and began typing a letter, a heartfelt apology, to Melania. It wasn't easy, every word felt like a battle with her pride. But she pushed through, determined to take responsibility for her actions. In the letter, she expressed her deep regret and admitted that her behavior had been unacceptable. She apologized for the pain she had caused and acknowledged that her actions were driven by her own insecurities. She didn't ask for forgiveness, she simply wanted Melania to know that she was truly sorry. When she finished, she read the letter over and over, making sure every word was sincere. Then, with a deep breath, she sent it. She didn't know if Melania would read it or if she would even respond, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that she had taken the first step toward redemption. As she closed her laptop, she felt a strange sense of relief. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she was being true to herself. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, she knew that. But she was ready to face the consequences of her actions and, more importantly, to change. The manager's journey was far from over, but she had taken the first step. And sometimes, that's all it takes to begin again. While the world buzzed with speculation and the boutique manager grappled with her regret, Melania Trump remained a picture of calm. She had always been a woman who valued privacy, and this situation was no different. Instead of fueling the media frenzy, she chose to focus on what mattered most to her, her family, her work, and the upcoming charity gala. The gala was a project close to her heart, aimed at supporting children's education and providing resources for underprivileged communities. She had spent weeks planning every detail, from the guest list to the fundraising initiatives. For Melania, this wasn't just another event, it was an opportunity to make a real difference. And she wasn't going to let anything, or anyone, distract her from that mission. Her inner circle admired her ability to stay focused amidst the chaos. "She's always been like this," one of her close friends shared privately. "No matter what's happening around her, she knows how to keep her eyes on what's important. It's one of the things I respect most about her." Melania's days were filled with meetings, phone calls, and preparations for the gala. She worked tirelessly, often late into the night, ensuring that every detail was perfect. But even in her busiest moments, she couldn't completely shake the memory of the incident at the boutique. It wasn't the humiliation that lingered. It was the reminder of how quickly people could judge and hurt one another. Still, Melania refused to let bitterness take root. She had faced criticism and scrutiny for years, both during her time as First Lady and afterward. She had learned to navigate the noise, to rise above the negativity, and to focus on the things that truly mattered. This situation was no different. One evening, as she sat in her home office reviewing the gala's program, her assistant handed her an envelope. "This came for you today," the assistant said. "It's from the boutique manager." Melania hesitated for a moment before opening the letter. As she read the manager's heartfelt apology, her expression softened. The words were raw and sincere, a stark contrast to the woman she had encountered in the boutique. Melania could sense the regret and vulnerability in every sentence. Her assistant watched her carefully. "What are you going to do?" Melania folded the letter and set it aside. "I'm not sure yet," she replied. "But I'll think about it." For the next few days, the letter stayed on her mind. She thought about the manager's journey, about the pressures and insecurities that might have led her to act the way she did. Melania had always believed in the power of forgiveness, but she also knew that forgiveness wasn't always easy. It required strength, humility, and a willingness to see the humanity in others. As the date of the gala approached, Melania made a decision. She wouldn't let the incident define her or the manager. Instead, she would use it as an opportunity to lead by example, to show that even in the face of hurt, kindness and grace could prevail. On the morning of the gala, Melania's team was busy with last-minute preparations. The event was set to be a star-studded affair, with celebrities, philanthropists, and influential leaders in attendance. But for Melania, the most important guests were the children who would benefit from the funds raised. As she put the finishing touches on her speech, she thought about the message she wanted to convey. It wasn't just about the importance of education or the need for generosity, it was about resilience, about the power of rising above adversity and choosing kindness over anger. Melania's quiet strength had always been her greatest asset. And as she prepared to step onto the stage that night, she knew that her actions would speak louder than any words. The charity gala was everything Melania had hoped for and more. The grand ballroom was adorned with elegant floral arrangements and soft, golden lighting, creating an atmosphere of warmth and sophistication. Guests mingled, their laughter and conversation filling the air, while a string quartet played softly in the background. It was a night of celebration, of hope, and of coming together for a cause greater than themselves. Melania stood at the edge of the room, watching as the event unfolded. She wore a stunning gown, her poise and grace as radiant as ever. But beneath her calm exterior, her mind was elsewhere. The letter from the boutique manager had stayed with her, its words echoing in her thoughts. She knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. As the evening progressed, Melania took the stage to deliver her speech. The room fell silent, all eyes on her. She spoke passionately about the importance of education, about the need to support children who lacked access to resources and opportunities. Her words were heartfelt and inspiring, drawing applause and nods of agreement from the audience. But then, she paused. The room grew still as she took a deep breath, her expression thoughtful. "Tonight," she began, "I want to talk about something else. Something that has been on my mind these past few weeks." She shared the story of the incident at the boutique, not with anger or bitterness, but with honesty and vulnerability. She spoke about how it had reminded her of the power of kindness and the importance of forgiveness. "We all make mistakes," she said. "We all have moments where we fall short of who we want to be. But it's in those moments that we have a choice, to hold on to anger or to let it go and choose compassion." The audience listened intently, captivated by her words. Melania's voice was steady, her message clear. "I believe in second chances," she continued. "I believe in the power of forgiveness to heal and to transform. And tonight, I want to extend that forgiveness to someone who has asked for it." She didn't mention the boutique manager by name, but those who knew the story understood. The room erupted in applause, not just for her words, but for the strength and grace it took to say them. Meanwhile, the boutique manager watched the gala from her apartment, her heart pounding as she listened to Melania's speech. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the magnitude of what Melania was doing. She had expected anger, retaliation, or silence, not this. Not forgiveness. The next morning, Melania's team reached out to the manager, inviting her to meet with Melania in person. The manager was stunned but agreed without hesitation. She knew this was her chance to make things right, to show that she was truly sorry and willing to change. The meeting took place a few days later at Melania's office. The manager arrived early, her nerves on edge. When Melania walked in, she greeted her with a warm smile, putting her at ease. They sat down together, and the manager began to speak. "I don't know where to start," she said, her voice trembling. "I've been replaying that day in my mind over and over again. I was cruel, and I have no excuse for it. I want you to know how sorry I am." Melania listened quietly, her expression kind and understanding. When the manager finished, Melania reached out and placed a hand on hers. "Thank you for your apology," she said. "It takes courage to admit when we're wrong. And I want you to know that I forgive you." The manager's eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve your kindness," she said. "Kindness isn't about deserving," Melania replied. "It's about choosing to see the good in people, even when they've made mistakes. I believe in second chances, and I believe in you." The meeting was a turning point, not just for the manager, but for both women. It was a moment of healing, of understanding, and of hope. And as they parted ways, they both knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter. The meeting with Melania had left the boutique manager profoundly changed. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of clarity and purpose. Melania's forgiveness had been a gift, one she was determined not to squander. She knew that words alone weren't enough, she had to take action to prove that she was serious about making amends. Her first step was to address the public. She called a press conference, something she had never done before. Standing in front of a small group of reporters, she looked nervous but resolute. "I owe an apology to Melania Trump, to the customers of my boutique, and to everyone who was hurt by my actions," she began. Her voice was steady, though her hands trembled slightly. "What I did was wrong, and there's no excuse for it. I let my insecurities and pride get the best of me, and I hurt someone who didn't deserve it." She went on to announce a new initiative she was launching in partnership with one of Melania's charities. The program, called Second Chances, would provide mentorship and resources to women who had faced setbacks in their careers or personal lives. "I've been given a second chance," she said, "and I want to help others find theirs." The response was mixed. Some people praised her for taking responsibility and trying to make a positive change, while others remained skeptical. "Actions speak louder than words," one commenter wrote online. "Let's see if she actually follows through." But the manager was determined to prove herself. She threw herself into the initiative, working closely with Melania's team to develop programs and outreach efforts. She also made changes within her boutique, implementing new training for staff to ensure that every customer was treated with respect and kindness. Melania, for her part, supported the manager's efforts without hesitation. She believed in the power of redemption and saw the genuine change in the woman who had once humiliated her. "Everyone deserves a chance to grow," Melania told her team. "And sometimes, all it takes is a little kindness to help someone find their way." As the weeks passed, the boutique began to regain its footing. Customers returned, drawn not just by the luxury items but by the store's new commitment to inclusivity and respect. The manager's transformation became a talking point. And the Second Chances initiative gained traction, attracting support from donors and volunteers. The manager also began to rebuild her personal life. She reached out to old friends and family members. Epilogue. The night of the charity gala arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. The venue, a grand ballroom in the heart of New York City, was transformed into a dazzling spectacle of lights, flowers, and elegance. Celebrities, philanthropists, and influential leaders mingled, their laughter and conversation filling the room. But the true stars of the evening were the children, the beneficiaries of the funds raised, who beamed with excitement as they greeted guests and shared their stories. Melania Trump stood at the center of it all, radiant in a gown that seemed to capture the very essence of grace. She moved through the crowd with ease, greeting old friends and making new ones. Her presence was magnetic, a reminder of why so many admired her. But tonight, her focus was on the cause, the children who would benefit from the generosity of those in attendance. As the evening progressed, the program began. Speakers took the stage to share their thoughts on the importance of education and the impact of the initiatives being supported. But the highlight of the night was Melania's speech. When she stepped onto the stage, the room fell silent. She began by thanking everyone for their support, her voice warm and sincere. "Tonight is not about me," she said. "It's about the children who deserve a chance to dream, to learn, and to thrive. It's about all of us coming together to make a difference." She then shared the story of the boutique incident, not as a tale of conflict, but as a lesson in forgiveness and growth. "We all make mistakes," she said. "But it's what we do after those mistakes that defines us. I've learned that kindness and compassion have the power to transform lives, not just for others, but for ourselves." As she spoke, the boutique manager watched from the audience, her heart swelling with gratitude. She had been invited as a guest of honor, a symbol of the redemption and second chances Melania had spoken about. When Melania mentioned her by name, acknowledging her efforts to change. As she turned off the lights and locked the door, she felt a sense of peace. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. And as she walked away, she carried with her the most important lesson of all, that no matter how far we fall, we always have the power to rise again. As she turned off the lights and locked the door, she felt a sense of peace. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. And as she walked away, she carried with her the most important lesson of all, that no matter how far we fall, we always have the power to rise again. The days and weeks that followed the charity gala were filled with reflection for everyone involved. The story of the boutique manager's humiliation of Melania Trump and the subsequent journey of forgiveness and redemption had captured the hearts of people around the world. It wasn't just a tale of two women, it was a story about the power of humility, the importance of second chances, and the transformative impact of kindness. For Melania, the experience had reinforced a lesson she had always known but had never articulated so publicly, that true strength lies not in retaliation but in compassion. She continued her philanthropic work with renewed vigor, using her platform to advocate for causes close to her heart. But she also made a conscious effort to lead by example, showing that even in the face of adversity, grace and dignity could prevail. The boutique manager, too, had been profoundly changed. Her partnership with Melania's charity flourished, and the Second Chances initiative became a beacon of hope for women across the country. She worked tirelessly to ensure that the program made a real difference, often sharing her own story as a reminder that it's never too late to change. Her boutique, once a symbol of exclusivity, became a place of inclusivity and warmth. Customers noticed the difference, not just in the way they were treated but in the atmosphere of the store itself. It was no longer just a place to buy luxury items, it was a space where people felt valued and respected. But perhaps the most significant change was within the manager herself. She had learned to let go of the insecurities and pride that had once driven her, replacing them with a sense of purpose and humility. She reconnected with her family and friends, rebuilding relationships that had been strained for years. And she found joy in giving back, in using her experiences to help others find their own paths to redemption. As time passed, the incident at the boutique became a distant memory, but its lessons remained. It served as a reminder that everyone makes mistakes, but it's what we do afterward that defines us. It showed that forgiveness, though not always easy, has the power to heal and transform. And it proved that kindness, even in the face of cruelty, can change lives in ways we may never fully understand. One evening, as the manager closed up the boutique, she paused to look at a framed photo on her desk. It was a picture from the charity gala, showing her and Melania standing side by side, smiling. Beneath it was a handwritten note from Melania: "Thank you for showing the world the power of second chances." The manager smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. She had been given a gift, a chance to start over, to become the person she was always meant to be. And she knew that she would spend the rest of her life paying it forward, one act of kindness at a time.